Reallyfe Street Stars. I'm with Dr. G. He's finna break my back, crack my back. I don't know.
Break his neck.
Break his neck. Yeah, one of them. You finna see.
All right, so you're just gonna relax. Just let that head drop.
Oh shit!
There you go.
Did it hurt or you feel good?
No, I feel great.
Oh, good? Now you feel like, look, bend your ear towards this shoulder. And you're trying to go the other way. All right, let's check it again. Relax,
Oh, that's amazing. But that's just great.
That's it. That's all we do in the chair.
Blessings on blessings.
This is Dr. G. I just did a dope interview with Reallyfe Street Stars. You make sure you subscribe and follow. We'll see you.
Real life.
It ain't real life. Just say real life street stars. You know what time it is.
Reallyfe Street Stars, man. Y'all put it together. Hold on, man. We got him in the building, the back crackle. Man, Dr. G in the building, man. What is good? What is going on?
Pleasure to be here.
Man, first and foremost, man, those that are deaf, dumb, stupid, been living on the rock, man. If they haven't seen your ads, man, not only in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, but all over the southern region, hell, middle America, all over America. If you are on Facebook or any type of, whatever social media, they probably seen you cracking some of the most prolific backs, doing great chiropractic work. And we're going to go through your come-up story. But first and foremost, I just want to understand your thought process as far as the marketing, man. We seen lawyers, on the radio, the Law Boss and that Texas Hammer, and we see you attacking the chiropractor game the same way with the marketing. What was that? What strategy was that from?
Man, the strategy you're saying as far as like compared to like what other attorneys are doing and everything is chiropractic. We got to get the message out any way that we can. The social media, everybody's on their phone. I think that's the easiest strategy to really look at compared to the radio. I know before this we kind of talked about like I don't feel everybody listens to the radio as much, but everybody has a phone, everybody has Facebook, everybody has Instagram. I've spent a lot of work as far as like the business side, and it's a strategy, and it's a strategy that works, man.
So even with that strategy, what made you want to attack? Let me get these celebrities in here, like versus just normal people who need chiropractic work.
Dude, man, it really started because I was already seeing, like some of the local celebrities here in town. Rudy Rush is probably one of the first guys.
Shout out Rudy Rush.
Yeah, Rudy Rush, a great guy. Like he's been a long time patient of mine. And then I don't know, something clicked to me. It's like, hey man, why don't I just ask him if I can record his video, And then it kind of just started there. And then I network a lot. So I've made connections with the right people, and then it's just like, it just cascaded over time. Just like people are like, hey, so-and-so's in town. You want to, they want to get adjusted. You want me to bring them in? I can see if they want to do a video, and it's just built from there. And now we get like, dude, I'm getting Dallas Cowboys like in my inbox, like, hey man, can I come in this weekend? Stuff like that.
Let's do it like this, man. I've, prior to this, man, for the past like 9 years, I was a claims adjuster doing bodily injury work. So I have history with chiropractors and how that thing works. I got to understand as far as, your come up story, as far as where you're born and raised, what made you even choose this profession? And was this your first choice as a profession?
Actually, yeah, since high school, but like, it's funny you say claims adjuster, because I'm from Grand Prairie. I went to South Grand Prairie High. I remember back in high school when we had to do like a career plan, like a chiropractor was what I wanted to do. But I wanted to do it kind of from that business like aspect, and I wanted to do like the PI, the auto accidents claims and everything like that. But the funny thing is, once, I graduated school, I didn't, and I worked a couple jobs I didn't like, McDonald's, Jack in the Box, some warehouse jobs. I decided I'm going to go back to school and just get back to what I really wanted to do. But by the time I got into chiropractic school, there's so much education, and I realized like chiropractic, it's, if you do it right, it can be beyond just the auto accident cases. I mean, it's like, it is about your overall health. And then I steered, like now I do hardly any like personal injury cases, you know. Now it's all about like health and wellness, man. And there's so much more behind it. Like once you learn it, and then and the patients get it. Like once you educate them, you know.
How much schooling does one need for chiropractic work?
So you're going to need an undergraduate degree, which is going to be, basically a bachelor's degree. Any chiropractic school is going to be anywhere from 3.5 to 4 years. So you're looking anywhere from like 7 to 8 years. And that's, dude, and then my opinion is that's not even enough to teach you how to properly train, like, to be a good doctor, really. Well, the way that I look at school, not to really knock them so much, there's board exams and it's overlooked by like the state, it's overlooked by like basically the medical system. And it's like when you're going through school, like you're not learning so much on how to like get a patient well as much as like how not to hurt a person. And that's really what it is, you know?
No, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. And we're about to get right into it because it looked like, man, you're literally breaking someone's neck. That's what it looks like. I'm like, hell no, I would not put myself through that type of, it looks like torture, but it seems well. So let's do it like this. What is, for a general purpose for our audience, what is the importance of what you do as far as making sure your muscles in your back, in your spine, your ligaments are all like,
everything,
positioned.
Right? Yeah, of course, if you have a pinched nerve, like chiropractic, it's a safer option than medicine or like injections for sure. But ultimately, like if you're looking at it from like a wellness perspective, your spine loses movement over time because we sit down and we're not as active as we should be. Contrary to people think when you get older, you kind of get stiff. It's really because we really become less active as we get older. And what happens is there's 23 discs in your spine that they stay hydrated and they stay healthy with movement and flexibility. But as we do less, you start to develop stiffness and tightness around those joints, and it forms into scar tissue. Your spine becomes less flexible, but as that happens, you start dehydrating the discs. And then the disc gets smaller and it starts affecting your nerves, and then you end up being like hunched over old guy that when they turn, they can't even turn their neck. They're doing this, But the adjustment, if it's done by the right chiropractor, you get x-rays and you can see if somebody does have a problem. And then now your focus is reinstilling and recreating movement that's been lost in the joint. So you're actually restoring health to those discs. And then, it's a beautiful thing because function comes back. Like pain gets better, but now the nerve works better. And now you're preventing degenerative processes that up until recently, most doctors thought is inevitable, which it's not true. There's so much behind chiropractic that people really don't know. And that is a big part of like my goal to be on social media and to be in your face too. It's a big conviction of mine.
Now, I know you deal with a lot of patients that they come in and they're nervous because,
Yeah.
From what we understand, your spine is, that's your life force. And
Absolutely.
What are some of the things that you tell your patient to comfort them?
As far as like, shoot, man. I would say like if you're gonna, the neck is probably the most common thing. Are you gonna break my neck, right?
Right. Yeah.
So like the amount of force it takes to break a neck, it's just like, I may not even be that strong, and I would have to want to do that,
Right.
Anytime I make an adjustment, it's not anywhere beyond like the natural range of the joint that can go. The amount of force, it's not really the force, it's the speed. And then it's just really knowing how to feel the joint. And like, so if I was to do an adjustment like on myself, my neck may be here and it barely may move just a little bit. But what you're hearing is just gas being released out of the joint because the joint does kind of stretch a little bit.
Now wait a minute, we didn't watch them '90s movies where like Arnold Schwarzenegger would just pull up behind you and just,
dude, yeah,
just
I know,
one
man.
little, and it'd be like you're gone.
No, there's so much in there. You're like, there's reflexes in your brain that actually protect you when a joint starts going beyond a certain range anyway. So like I've never even heard of a chiropractor breaking somebody's neck. Actually one case, but they didn't screen the patient well, and the patient had like severe osteoporosis. Like, so that goes back to the history, that goes back to possible x-rays. Like, it was just a terrible like exam, and it just didn't, it shouldn't have happened,
So the chances of a chiropractor breaking your neck is
it's like It's nothing.
And you breaking
Like,
your neck.
you're more. I mean, it's like the analogy with the airplanes. Like you're more likely to die going to the chiropractor, like in an auto accident or something. You know?
Amen.
Yeah.
Now, tell us about your first time actually working with a patient. Were you nervous? Like, what was that?
Man, well, not necessarily. Well, so in school, like we kind of practice on ourselves, like back in chiropractic school. So, and you get many hours of like clinical experience too. So, like my first patient, like outside of school, I can't even really remember. But I mean, I wouldn't say that I was nervous because I know that I wouldn't hurt them. Probably my biggest fear was like, am I actually gonna adjust them well? Like, you know, like, or is it gonna be like, oh, like it didn't really move, you know? That was probably my biggest fear.
Have you ever had a patient like whack you in the face or like pass gas or something crazy like that?
Yeah, the one that comes to mind is like, and we have it's on the video with Lil White. He kind of jumps, and then my wife is standing next to the table, and he kind of kicks her in the stomach, and she was pregnant. Like,
Oh my God.
He always jokes about that. Like when he sees my son, well, my son is now 2 years old. He's always all like, he's like, man, that kid's so smart, man. He's like, I'm so glad he doesn't have brain damage from when I kicked him, you know.
So let's go and do it like this because you mentioned
Yeah.
Lil White.
Yeah.
Let's just start with celebrities.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of celebrities. I got to ask you personally, who was your favorite one that just to meet, say, wow, I'm actually in the room with them and we're getting down to it?
Man, I don't want to, like anybody that hears this, I don't want to take away from anybody, but I grew up off of BoneThugs, man. Crazy Bone was just, you know, that was a big deal to me. Like I was kind of like, that's where I was like, man, I was kind of like starstruck to see him, you know, because dude, they're like, and I told him, I'm like, yeah, they're the Beatles of rap, man. They
They are the Beatles of rap.
Yeah.
That's my favorite damn near group or rappers in general. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you solicit Crazy Bone to do a song?
We've talked about it. He's down for it, you know. we just haven't made it happen, man. But I would love to do something with any member of Bone for sure.
Crossbones?
Crossbones.
Me.
I know
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Now, how was you did a couple celebrity wrestlers?
Yeah, man.
How was that? I think you had Mark Henry, Kurt Angle.
Yeah, Mark Henry, Kurt Angle.
Yeah,
Rikishi, man.
Yeah.
I love those guys. They're just so down to earth. They're such cool guys. The Kurt Angle video is really interesting because it's a fake adjustment. We add the sound. He broke his neck. Like I'm not gonna adjust his neck, but he kind of came up with that. He's like, well, let's just do it anyway, and I'm gonna pretend like it hurts, and he's gonna scream, and then that video does really well for me too. You know? Yeah.
So, and I have to ask then because I've seen you crack some noses, crack some ears.
Yeah, man.
I'm like, is that cartilage?
Yeah, so dude, it's cartilage. It's not really gonna click like crack. It's fake, just for the, you know. I don't even remember when it happened. Like, I mean, one of the funny things, like my nose, it just like in the past, like sports injuries and different things, I've broken my nose twice, so mine actually cracks. I don't remember maybe that's where it came from. Like if I can.
Oh wow! Oh God! Oh, I hear. Oh,
so mine cracks, but most people's their noses and ears don't crack. I mean, you can't. There's sometimes an ear can crack, but man, you got to yank on that thing.
Yeah,
and it's
I'm
like,
sure.
I'm not trying to hurt anybody, you know.
Shout out to the sound effects, man. For real. So someone like a Rikishi, a wrestler, that their back gets thrown all over the place.
Dude,
is it like when you're going in there and you're adjusting them?
Yeah.
Is it like worse than a normal human?
any athlete, anybody. I mean, it's repetitive trauma, man.
Yeah, true. Like football players as well.
Oh, dude. I mean, it's just when you're talking specifically wrestlers, they're jumping off the high ropes and they're all huge. You know, that's a lot of force, and it's just repeatedly just pounding on it. I mean, most of them had like just tons of surgery. So yeah, they're a lot of work. You know.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So, what celebrity would you say you had that when, of course, you asked them to come in, that they were totally different than what you thought, what you expected?
Man, I'm trying to think. I can't really think. Maybe Pauly Shore.
Oh wow.
Like because and then not in a negative way, but it's like you kind of like you see him in video and you kind of think that he's in character, but that's just him, man. Like he just like dude, that's it. Like me, I'm like, man, I thought this. I see videos of him and I think that he's just kind of like he's trying to be funny. He's just naturally funny. Like he's a little awkward, not in a negative way, but it's just like that's just who he is, man. But he's a super cool guy. Yeah.
And when it comes to the rappers,
yeah,
how was the interaction with Snoop Dogg? How was that?
Man, Snoop Dogg, that's an interesting one too. Super cool guy, man. I guess I'll tell you the story of how that happened. I didn't even know that we were going to get to work with Snoop, really. You know, what happened was he was in Austin. They wanted to bring me out for like the backstage to kind of work on everybody. Slim Thug was there, so he's familiar. He loves getting adjusted, you know. So they're like, hey, you know, if you want to drive, it was just like an overnight thing. If you want to drive out, you know, and kind of take care of everybody, there may be an opportunity to work with Snoop. We're going to really try to push him to, you know, to try to do something with you. And it luckily it happened. But I mean, of course, dude, Snoop Dogg, it happens on his terms. And it was just basically like, we'll do something. You come in, come to my room, and then we're gonna do it in like a chair or something, you know, because I had a table, but he's like, I'm not getting on that table, man. He's like, you come out and we'll make it happen, but just do it in my dressing room and we'll make sure it works. And that's why you'll see me in the video like standing up, because I'm like, well, shit, it's Snoop Dogg. We got to make this happen. We got to do it. So I'm like, well, shit. And he's like, I don't know, like 6'4", 6'5". I'm like, I guess I'm gonna have to stand in the chair for his upper back, you know?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Did you do? I think you did Fat Joe, right?
Fat Joe, man, great guy too. Yeah.
Yeah. How
absolutely.
was that, man? Because Fat Joe, he looks like a guy almost like on a 50 Cent level to where he's like, man, I ain't getting my back adjusted. I ain't worried about it. Or was he eager to get it done?
Man, he was eager to get it done. Like the thing with Fat Joe is like he's just all love for everybody, man. So he understands like the power of his celebrity so much, and he knows like, hey, I come in, I'm helping you out, man. So like he goes, basically it's like he didn't say it, but it's like he knows like if we do a video with him, it's gonna help me, like my success, and he's just all about helping everybody grow. So his energy, like he just immediately walks into the room and raises everybody's energy up, man. Amazing guy.
That's real.
Yeah.
Now another one I seen you do, man, was DJ Paul.
DJ Paul, man. Yeah. I actually did that at my house.
Yeah, it looked like at a home or something, man. Like it looked very homely.
Yeah, dude.
How was he? Because
he's funny too, dude. It's like because he's 3-6 Mafia. They're real like gangster. Man, like, dude, he's the friendliest guy. He's like just joking and laughing. Like smile 100% of the time. Like similar, man. He's just there to build everybody up, man. He's a great, amazing guy. Yeah.
Nah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now. You did a lot of the Texas artists, man, from I believe Bun B, Mike Jones, Lil Flip, Paul Wall.
That part of the strategy too, by the way.
Yeah, I'm saying that must have been a strategy as far as just getting those guys in.
Dude, I've done so much work, like just trying to push and get those guys in because I know how much of an influence they have, you know. And then just like everybody in Dallas, at some point, like everybody loves all the Houston artists, you know. And then that was a big deal to me. Like, hey, if we're gonna try to build the celebrity brand and the celebrity videos, I want to do it with everybody in Texas because it's like anybody that sees the video is gonna know who they are. So you're just gonna it just makes sense, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. I seen you do. I believe it was I Am Jonathan.
Oh, dude,
he made it. He put a little extra sauce on it. He put a little extra sauce on it. I'm like, shit.
To tell you the story, like it's so funny because. He was messaging me we were messaging back and forth. He's like, hey, I want to come out to your office. And then we tried to get a time we tried to schedule time and he couldn't make it one time. And then just like one time, like one day.
He's hard to get in touch with, man. That guy.
So one day after my morning shift, like luckily I didn't jet out the door. I stayed like till 12:15 a little after. And then like my front office comes, she's like, hey, there's somebody out here waiting for you. And then I'm like, really? Who is it? I look and it's Jonathan. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, okay, well, you finally made it. He didn't tell me anything. He just showed up to my office.
Man, that guy, man.
And then so I'm like, well, shit, like I'm not going to lunch. We're gonna do this and we're gonna make a video, you know?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes, you know, when you involve a lot of celebrities like you do, it can become gimmicky.
Yeah.
And it takes away from the seriousness of your profession.
Absolutely.
How do you combat that part of it?
How do I, the biggest thing that I would say is just like, I'm big on patient education, man. Like, marketing, the adjustment, the celebrity, it gets people to watch. They really like it. It's real attractive. And then so people, they want to come into the office, they book, but once they come in, man, I have, I have amazing doctors, right? And I have an amazing staff. We take it serious once they come in, because I know like people come in because they see the funny videos, but it is their health, and we really take it that way. So once they step in the door, we're like, you know, we go through like an extensive health history. I mean, most cases we do X-rays, and we really like offer up like the as much help as we can to benefit people in every aspect of their life that we possibly can, you know? Yeah.
Have you ever had anybody like fan out? Like,
I mean, people ask me for pictures like all the time, but nothing crazy though,
Okay.
you know? Yeah.
now, being that you are in the hip hop community, have you thought about doing anything like hip hopish, like maybe getting a chain or a grill, an iced out back, maybe?
Man, I have a small chain. I don't wear it all the time. Yeah, I mean, I don't. People they're like, oh, because when people see me with the chain on, they're like, oh man, you got to get it like a little iced out spine on there.
What would you get? A spine, a little skull?
If I was to do something, it'd probably be a spine. Yeah,
That'd be
something,
throw.
you know?
That'd be hard. That'd be hard.
Yeah.
Nothing but VS. VS. So I gotta say this, man. Speaking of the hip hop, man, you were able to cut a couple tracks, man.
Yeah, man.
I believe the first one, I want to say, was it the Bun B, or was it Young Buck? Was that your first foray into going toe to toe with an artist?
Man, I'll say, well, technically the first video that we ever did, but I wasn't rapping in it, was with Lardy B and Dero. We got back out of whack. But Young Buck was the first one that I actually rapped on it. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. We had Young Buck on the couch as well, man. And you know, he, of course, he's legendary G Unit. How was that though, to say, man, I'm gonna get Young Buck to redo the song "Shorty Wanna Ride With Me"?
Dude.
Like, how was that to have him redo this song and have you catch a verse on this thing, man?
It was amazing. I mean, dude, that's like a childhood dream, right? Like to make a rap song with a platinum selling artist like G Unit, like relations with 50 Cent. I didn't even know he would. I was just surprised that he did it. You know, like it's just one of my buddies. Like he's like, hey, I booked Young Buck for a show. I know you've been trying to do this rap thing. You want me to ask him if he'll do something with you? And I'm like, I guess ask him if he'll do Shorty Wanna Ride With Me. And then I was like, we're gonna do Shorty come and crack your spine with me. And then he was all for it, man. He thought it was hilarious.
Was that Smooth Vega? That
Smooth Vega, yeah.
Shout out Smooth Vega, man. God damn it, man. No, that was. Now, honestly, when I seen that, man, it took me back to the Flavor TV days, the parodies. But it's done in such a smart way, man. The visual is taken serious and everything, man. You got him in the music. And then I think you did what was it? The Nutcracker? Backcracker?
The Netcracker with Bun B.
Bun B.
I didn't think that was gonna happen that way.
Now
either.
that had me like, oh shit.
Dude,
bro, he brought out Bun B bars.
Man.
I'm like, oh shit. How was that doing that whole experience?
Man, it was almost like a last minute thing. I didn't know that it was really gonna happen. If you're familiar with Bone, his manager, like we were just. He always tells me when Bun's in town, because I love to get him in the office and like get him adjusted and try to video when we can. But I asked him. He's like, hey man, he's like, Bun's coming in town. He's like, you wanna try to connect with him? And I'm like, hey man, ask him if he'll do like a rap parody with me. And I'm like, it's for Christmas too. And then he's all like, let me talk to him. It took a couple days, and he's all like, yeah, he's in, he'll do it. And then I still didn't believe it until he showed up. And then I didn't want to ask for too much. So I just had like a whole wardrobe of like stuff, like Santa Claus stuff. Cause I'm like, that's the theme we wanted to go with. And as soon as he saw the t-shirt, the Santa Claus, he's like, oh man, I can't be mad at that. He's like, I'll wear that. And then he put the hat on and everything. So it was just amazing, you know? Yeah.
Now, have you ever seen a set of x-rays and you're like, I can't touch you?
Oh, well, yeah, dude, absolutely, man. Like, I mean, well, a break, like it's common to see like a broken bone. Compression fracture is probably the most common break that you'll see in the spine that a patient doesn't really think that there's a break, you know. Compression fracture, it's like, it can be from trauma, but a lot of times there's just something going on with their bones, like with the minerals, and then the bones are just essentially weak. And then what happens is they're like, oh man, I was sitting on a plane ride for 4 hours, and then my back just started hurting, and then I got up, and it was just like the worst pain in my life. And then, I mean, if a story like that, you wouldn't think you had a break. You're just like, I was on a plane, I just have a lot of pain. But I mean, I'm qualified to kind of check that stuff out too. So I hear the story. You can palpate and you can kind of feel that the spine just doesn't feel right. We can take x-rays and see it, but that's probably the most common thing where it's like, yeah, it's essentially a bone that collapsed and broke on itself. I'm not going to adjust that, Right. And those you just let them heal. That's really all you can do, and just do everything you can to help it heal as best it can,
Do you ever feel like there's more that you need to learn, or like as far as education is concerned, because he's like, when the human body can only change so much, right?
Yeah.
But do you ever feel like, man, if there was so much more I can learn or about what going on with a person?
Oh yeah, I'm constantly learning, man. I'm a lifetime student. I even go back to like textbooks from like chiropractic school, and I still reread them, because it's like, there's certain things that I'll catch and I'll be like, man, it just makes sense. And then I don't feel like enough doctors are really kind of doing that, because in my mind, I want to actually like get to the root cause and actually correct and fix things like the right way. And I don't want to just do this pain management thing, So in order to understand how the body works, you got to constantly be learning to offer the best care for your patients.
Has there been something that you just never seen before that just surprised you, that came up on an x-ray or something? Like, you're like, what's that?
Besides like cancer is probably the one where you're just like, you hate to see it, but I mean, it can happen.
So cancer comes up on an x-ray?
Yeah, if it's bone cancer, yeah, absolutely. But I mean, any type of pain, I might see it, because people don't think like, oh, I got bone cancer. They're like, my back hurts, my shoulder hurts or whatever. I'm going to go in and, get it checked out. But that's why, you have to, like, as a chiropractor, you have to just know your stuff. You got to understand, like, when someone tells you something, you got to understand, like, hey, that sounds like this, and this. And that's why I'm big on x-ray anyway, because I can see everything and I already know that, it's safe to adjust,
Bone cancer. When you see that, is that a thing that you like tell them, yeah, you just need to go to a doctor? Or are you the one that breaks that news?
In most cases, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna refer them out. I'm just gonna say, hey, you know what? There's some things in the x-ray. I need you to go see this specialist. And then, because it could be like, it could be severe, like osteoporosis that could cause like the similar damage in the bone, and it's like, I don't want to tell someone something that I'm not sure. There's signs that a lot of times 90% certain you can see it, because certain cancers have certain patterns that are going to be displayed on an x-ray, but it's just, I'll just refer them out and let them, let them handle it. Yeah.
When it comes to bone cancer, like, what does that do to the body? Like, as far as, like you said, somebody's just hurting, if they just don't go and get that checked up on, what?
Man, like, and that's the thing, like, so a lot of times if you catch something like that, it's most cases it has spread, like if it's in the bone, or if it's a certain type of bone cancer, but it's just, man, like what I'm seeing on the x-ray, you'll see there's not a thickness all the way through. Like, it almost looks like there's holes in the bone, and it's because it's like eating the bone from either from within outwards or from the outside in, Yeah.
What is spider bipping?
What is what?
Spider bifida or something?
Spinal bifida.
Spinal bifida.
Spinal bifida. So you're probably talking about spinal bifida occulta. So that's like the spinal bifida occulta means that like part of the vertebrae is typically the spinous process. It's like it should, when you're developing, it should fuse all the way together. But sometimes there's like a slight opening, but it's still protecting your spine. I actually have spinal bifida occulta in my L5. It doesn't mean anything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but like spinal bifida is like a whole nother case, and that's super rare. So if you probably have spinal bifida occulta if you're asking. It doesn't mean much.
I don't.
I haven't been diagnosed with this, none of that. So osteoporosis.
Yeah.
That is what's that condition of?
Osteoporosis, it's like a thinning of the bone. It's like, in most cases, it's normal. Like after a certain age, especially like particularly in women, the bones kind of demineralize over time. And a lot of that's hormone stuff. Like after menopause, women don't really, their bones don't really absorb as much calcium like as before. So the bones, they kind of wither as you age, you know? But that doesn't mean that, again, I'm going to go back to, I don't think that's always going to be 100% of the time. I think that if you exercise and you lift weights and you still give yourself the right nutrition, I think you can either prevent or combat a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
And then just with particular bones in general, like maybe a leg longer than the other, or
Yeah.
you know, how does that work as far as an adjustment? Like,
Right. So, I mean, and I think I joke with that in I can't remember which song, but it's like, maybe I haven't released it actually, but there's this little joke. That's like old school chiropractic stuff about the leg length stuff, because everybody's going to have some kind of a discrepancy to some degree. Really what it is, it's really an imbalance of certain muscles might be tight on one side, certain muscles may not be as activated on one side, so you're going to have a shift, and you can adjust, and it's going to even it out. But like if it's ultimately coming from the muscle, it's going to kind of shift back eventually, you know.
I want a condition I'm asking you a lot of doctor questions because
Yeah.
and I'm gonna ask you about that too. A condition I always see is like the curvature of the legs. They might be bowing outward,
Right.
which causes people to walk not bow-legged, but like I'm talking about
like where it's out this way or inwards, or
Yeah,
it's more likely going to be inward.
Yeah.
And what it is, it's typically it's a collapse of the arch in the foot, really.
Okay.
And then it's really an adaptation, man, because we're designed to walk on like uneven surfaces like grass or sand, dirt, things like that. And we're kind of designed to do it barefoot, but we don't. We wear shoes, we flatten our feet out as we age, and we walk on hard surfaces. So over time, most people lose the arches in their feet. And then what happens, but that arch, if these are your feet, you know, you're so designed to have an arch, and that keeps you evenly balanced. If the arch is primarily on the medial side or the middle side, when that collapses, everything just kind of bows inward, and then you start wearing out the inside of your knee, and then to compensate, the muscles on the outside of the hip, they start overfiring and they become overactive to try to pull the knee out, and then you got sciatica because these muscles are impinging the nerves in your hip, you know?
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blame the Chuck Taylor Converses, man.
Dude, man, like you see I got the Brooks, man. Like I invest in my feet, man.
Got to. Now, I gotta ask you, man. You got a song with Lil White Man called Oxycontin.
Yeah, man.
Dope song. Love the visuals. Love the costumes.
Yeah.
But it raised the question to me, man, as far as when you see a situation like Oxycontin abuse or hydrocodone abuse. What do you say when you see someone just saying, "Hey, I got back pain, I got back problems," but they're just abusing the pain meds?
Dude, man, I can tell you, I've had patients like flip out on me because I'm trying to like help them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you, actually.
Help you. And they're just like, no, I just want drugs. I'm just here because I just need medication, you know? I've had that, and I've had patients patients open up to you. So I've had patients tell me, you know what, like, I'm here because this is all my doctor wants to do. And then I've been addicted to heroin. And then when you talk about like pain meds, like they're similar. And then they're like, I beat heroin. So I don't want to even play with any kind of opioid because I already have an addiction problem. So I'm here because I need to fix this without medication, you know?
Right. What's the worst you've seen somebody on, like, just some pain?
Dude, it's, man.
How skits were they?
The thing is, like, they get so accustomed to it. They look just like you and me, man. They're not, they're not like, it's like, it's when, if they start coming off those drugs, dude, I mean, they're going to have withdrawals but it's just crazy. Like when you get, it's almost like a delusion where the patients come in and then they're like, man, yeah, so I've been on this medication and this medication and I've been on it for 7 years. And then it's like, well, like, how do you feel? Has your pain changed since you started taking it to now? And like, no, my pain's gotten worse. Like, so do you think the medication's helping you? No, it's not helping me, but I'm so used to it. I can't come off of it. And it's like, dude, it's literally an epidemic, dude. It's crazy. And it's cool. That's why with Lil White, he was so into that too, because he knows like the history of that song, you know? Yeah. And he's just like, man, it's so cool to be able to do this because I do want to help, like kind of give back and help people, get people off of this stuff, you know?
No, exactly. I seen there's a show trending on Netflix called Murdoch Murders or something, with a guy going through Alec Murdoch is going through it, and I'm watching this trial and he's like, man, I spent like $500,000 on opioids, on these Oxycontins, and I'm like, what? But I guess they are expensive if you're going out of network.
Or maybe buying them illegally.
Very expensive. Very expensive.
Yeah.
No, for real. Now I gotta ask, and this goes back to just posture.
Yeah.
I think I seen you post a video of how a person's supposed to sit. And you always remember those stories of your mom telling you sit up straight. You're gonna mess up your back.
Yeah.
How true is that as far as just
everybody sits
up straight now. How true is that as far as posture?
It's that's only a piece of it. It's true to a certain degree, but that's only a piece of it. Like one of the things I would say, like I've learned over time, is that whatever position you put yourself in, your body's gonna adapt to it quickly, and it's gonna get strong in that position. You know, so. When you look at when we stand up straight from the side, the spine actually is like an S curve. Your neck should have a curve and it curves back in the opposite direction. Most cases when we take an x-ray, like the neck is forward and it's instead of being like a curve like this, like if the face is here, it straightens out or it even curves in the opposite direction. And then it's just crushing all the discs and damaging all the nerves. But the reason that happens is there's so many things. Like, okay, posture's one. We kind of, and cell phones is definitely a big part of it because we're just constant. If you're like, dude, your body's gonna adapt looking down. Like, we're looking at a phone, and then
should we hold our phones up?
Absolutely, you should hold your phone more upright. I mean, like, and then you go to bed at night, and then you got a big pillow jamming your head forward too. Like your head's forward all day long. Of course it's going to adapt and be straight, and it's going to, and the thing is, posture, the curve in your neck is designed to carry the weight of your head on the bone of the spine. And then when it starts to straighten out, it takes the weight off the bone, and now you're compressing the discs. And then over time, it causes degenerative disc disease. It causes nerve damage. It causes arthritis. It's when it's scary to really think about it.
Did you see that? I think it was a Facebook or something on Instagram or something where they show like, in 1,000 years, if we stay on our phones, our
my 12-year-old daughter showed me that.
It's like we're gonna evolve into just our necks.
Dude, probably, man.
It can happen again.
Yeah.
So how would you feel, or what would you say to people who are like, oh, I'm gonna wear these waist trainers or like these, shape up type things that are helping their body in a certain kind of way fix their posture, like as an easy way out. How do you feel about those type of things?
Yeah, patients ask me that all the time, and then I tell them, if it's for symptoms, like if your pain is so debilitating and that helps you to manage pain, that's okay. But you can't depend on that long term because your body's going to adapt. You're going to weaken your muscles because your body adapts so fast. You're going to desensitize your muscles that are supposed to naturally hold you up. And then now you're going to create another problem.
So like just getting like a BBL do anything to like, your bone structure?
Man, I haven't, I haven't really thought about it, but It could. I mean, if it's gonna make you heavy in certain areas, the women would be the one to answer. Like, I don't know what it feels like to walk around. Do you feel different afterwards? Like, do you feel like you're being pulled down more? You know, I don't know.
Most women with large breasts will get a breast reduction because they say their back, it just does hell on their back, really. And I'm assuming that there's truth to that.
Yeah, there is. I mean, if they just do more deadlifts, then they'll be strong enough to hold it up, right?
No. Facts. So I have to ask you, a rapper wearing all them damn chains, does that do anything to the neck?
Man, if it's to the extent, like, I remember Mr. T used to say that his chains would weigh like 40 pounds. Yeah. If you start weighing more than, if you start in the poundages, if you can weigh it in pounds, it's probably going to damage your spine.
I'm telling you. Yeah. Now, I seen you adjusting a dog.
Yeah, that's my dog.
Yeah, that was your dog.
That's my Rottweiler, yeah.
What's his name? Or her?
Sansa. Yeah.
Do you feel, is that a thing? Like, can people bring in pets and like, hey, I need my...
Not to me, but that is a thing. So there are chiropractors that are like, you're supposed, you take extra courses like to specialize in that stuff. I can adjust the dog, but I just kind of do that to my dog to take care of her. But and then for social media. But the gist of it is most dogs, they chronically have osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis develops when your joints lose flexibility. So getting adjusted helps prevent osteoarthritis in animals. So like if you have a dog that's prone to bad hips or whatever it may be, like mine, the heavy set dogs, it's beneficial for sure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, it was, I think it was Planet of the Apes where, the monkeys were on all four seasons and he stood up. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. I guess that's an evolution for you. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, man.
Now I gotta ask, when it comes to insurance, as far as people saying, hey, I was in a car accident.
Yep.
Sometimes it might be like a bump where they hit from the rear and they don't feel nothing.
Yeah.
And then like maybe days later, weeks later, they may start feeling, a pinch. Now, what is that as far as for something to happen immediately, you feel okay, maybe it's adrenaline, but then later on, you start feeling something and now they're coming to see you?
Typically, it's like the inflammation around the nerve is what happens. So if you didn't feel anything with the accident, and then you get pain later, you probably to some degree damage the ligaments or the tendons around your spine. And then what you're feeling is that inflammation just gradually builds over time from that injury, and then it just hits you. You wake up one day and you're just like, what happened? My neck is like bad, Yeah.
Have you had someone who, or do you even ask like the extent of the accident, like where somebody just came in and just oversold it? Like, bro, you're really overselling this thing. Like, just tell me what you want and we get to the point. You're
talking about like the person, no, I wouldn't say that. Well, it's just because basically I don't really do a lot of those cases. So what I do is, so if you do, in most cases, if somebody's trying to do a claim and they want to see me, the first thing I tell them is that, I'm going to assess you based on what I find, and I'm going to give you a treatment plan based on that. I'm not going to do whatever the insurance expects me to do. And if they're telling you they're going to reimburse you, because you did claims too. So what I'll do is I'll tell them, I'll give you a total bill of what it's going to cost to help get you back to normal. And in order to help you, I'll just give you a payment plan. You can pay me maybe like $100 a month or $200 a month. And then what that does, that gives you time to get through the treatment to where it's affordable. And then you just get your check from the insurance and you pay your whole bill off, Yeah.
Do you ever have patients that get aroused during a session?
One time, and it wasn't for me, and it was like only one. And it's funny that you say that because, and then I immediately thought of it too. So my wife is a massage therapist by trade. So we actually started my practice. It was just me and her, and then like we would see anywhere from like 70 to 100 patients a day. But basically, she would kind of stretch them, and I would adjust them. Right. There was one time this guy, he only came in one time too. But she was working on his back and he's face down, and then he turns over and then you can see like, it's almost like it makes me think of the 40-year-old virgin where he's like, he tinted his pants, right? Yeah. Right. But I just pretend like I don't see it, And then I adjust them. he had already paid before for the visit, so I adjust him and he just walks out, and then we kind of look at each other, and then we moved on to the next patient, but we talked about it later.
That's wild, just to keep a straight face and just
Same thing with farts too.
Oh
yeah. I just act like I don't hear it. You know.
So, barbers will tell you normally, hey man, get your hygiene right before you come in. Do you try to like, hey man, you have a sign that says get your hygiene right?
Man, we probably should. Well, we haven't really had that much, I don't think we really had a problem with that,
So I have to ask then, is there any like, intimate positions that people shouldn't do? It's 2023 and people get a little wild. Like anything that's just bad for our back, like any position we should probably stay away from. Just like,
oh man, there's probably something I can't say on camera. But,
that won't exist.
There's probably something there, but I would say, to think about it, I would say, like face down. Just your partner should maybe not go that hard on you because it is going to stress your low back. And if you have a habit of like, if that's your favorite position, and they like to just go ham on you, it's a repetitive stress. It's gonna
bite the pillow.
A pillow, right?
Yeah, put a pillow. Bite the pillow.
Maybe the pillow's the thing.
For real, because some people, and it's funny because I see a lot of girls do like to be known for being like, I forgot the word, but I don't know what the word is, where they're just very flexible.
Yeah.
Like, I can bend all kind of ways. That's not really good though for people to be bending all. Like
it's not, but it's better than like being like hyper flexible is probably better than not being flexible.
Okay, yeah,
But yeah, if you're hyper mobile, you're hyper flexible, then that in itself can cause a chronic stress too. Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
It's funny.
There's a happy medium, right?
There's a happy medium. That's funny because you see those people that come in when they bend their arms behind their back, and I'm like, that doesn't look right. But
well, if they're dislocating their joint, then it's absolutely not right because they're going to damage their ligaments at some time. There's going to be arthritis eventually.
Definitely. And just real quick, just so people could know, we talked posture, but what is the proper way for people to sleep? Like how? What's just for long term, for your back to be right, for your neck, what's the proper way to go to sleep?
The simplest way I'll say, just keep your head above your shoulders, right? So that's what you got to think about. In any position, keep your head level above your shoulders, right? But in a perfect world, sleeping on a firm mattress, no pillow, just flat, that's the absolute best position for your spine. But I know there's side sleepers. So if you're a side sleeper, you want a pillow that's about the width of your shoulder to your head, so where you're not cocked one way too much, because you're going to be in that position for hours. And not even that, I know you're going to sleep on the same side for the rest of your life probably. So you're going to start creating problems, So just try to keep your head level. And if you're on your stomach, just you want to try to you're going to be off to the side a little bit, just try to pull your head back. That's really it,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, definitely, we want to make sure people, not only do they see you online, we want to make sure that they come visit you. We want to make sure that they follow you on IG. You document pretty much all your chiropractic stories online, and they can go see that. So, where exactly is your practice at, and how long have you been there?
Right, so I'll say I've been in practice since 2015, so I'm going on 8 years, right? But my office that I'm at now, I think I want to say I'm going on 3 years being in that building. But it's the Bank of America building off of Walnut Hill in Greenville, so it's right across from the hospital.
Oh,
Yep.
And for those that do want to follow you, go check out the videos, follow you on Instagram, hear them the crack addicts.
Yeah.
Where can the crack addicts log in at, and where can they go check it out?
Instagram, it's DR.G Chiro, so it's DR_G_CHIRO. Facebook, it's my name, Dr. Matthew Gutierrez. YouTube should be the same. Spotify, because I do have a Spotify account too.
He come.
DR.G, DOCG. Yeah, check it out. Yeah.
And speaking of, who would you like to possibly do a track with next, outside of Crazy Bone?
Outside of Crazy Bone, Snoop for sure, man. I would want to do something with Snoop. Man, Joyner Lucas, man, I love him. I think he would be great to do something with,
Bar heavy.
Yeah. I grew up on the old school hip hop, so any of the older, you know, the 90s, early 2000s, I would love to do anything with anybody, you know?
That's love, man.
Yeah.
Any shout outs you want to give?
Man, I can't even think of anybody, man. I probably should shout out somebody, but I can't think of anybody. my mom.
Yeah, definitely your family. You know, for what you do, man. Do you think you're ever gonna make it a family practice, like where, you know, you'll be able to have other family members take it on, pass you?
Absolutely, man. Well, hopefully. So I have four kids. I got 2 daughters, two sons. My oldest daughter, she's 12. Lately, she's been telling me she wants to be a chiropractor. So I'm like,
awesome.
That makes me proud. You know, I'm doing my job whenever your kids want to do, you know, walk in your shoes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, man, Dr. G, it's been a great pleasure. We just want to thank you so much for coming and sitting down with us, man. We look forward for you to crack one of our backs or all of our backs at the same simultaneously.
Right.
Hey, this is the best part, Doc. You are a real life street star.
Hey.
Thank you.
Shout out Reallyfe street stars, nigga. Move. Hey.